Robin, good, whatever, like we always seem to talk about at the beginning of the show, because we don't know what time of day it is that you're, or night.
And we don't know what you're wearing either.
That's
so,
okay,
I mean,
too.
it could be anything.
We have no problem with that.
It's okay.
So this week, we wanted to talk a little bit about nitrogen. And the really fun part of that is it has a really cool symbol that you can see here. And what's really good, if you're a Scrabble player, for some reason, they even tell you how many points you were going to get with Scrabble. So
you get 7 points.
How cool is that? It's a 7-point word.
I never knew what those were.
I thought that was kind of fun. So if you're really good about
Wow.
science, you'll understand that it's nitrogen to the 7th, and you understand all of that great stuff. So never was very good in what was that? I'm not even sure what class that would have been in. So anyway,
Who knows?
some
I
type
never
of
would have
science.
known if you hadn't said you weren't good at
So
it.
today we're going to talk a little bit about what nitrogen does for your car, putting it in your tires, and then what not nitrous oxide. So we're not going to talk about nitrous oxide, and that has a little bit to do with going to the dentist. That's that fun gas that you put on, and
So
yeah,
that's the only reason I came back here.
you heard.
So we're not getting the gas?
Hopefully, we're going to get a little bit of gas. As we try and explain it, we'll even take it to its extreme here. So we actually brought Dave Walker's family tree.
Yeah. So you see, this is right here. You have your medium chain triglycerides.
I like that.
And
now, is that a chain like a 7-Eleven store or a chain on a bicycle?
No. See how they connect together with the covalent bonds of the of the positive and the negative, the ionization.
You really have no idea what you're saying, do you?
Well, no, I don't.
It was going
sounded
well for
pretty
a
good,
minute.
though.
It sounded really good.
I'm still just upset that I'm not getting. I thought I was getting the mask.
Both of us. So
I'll tell you.
yeah,
Because
there's the mask. Okay,
cool.
so good.
You know, what is this? You know that Ryan Street, our president's son, is a dentist.
Yes.
And he can get you set up with the gas, but only for a proper dental related reason, not just for fun, I found out. I asked.
Go ahead and just say, man, this tooth is killing me, Doc.
Yeah.
Can you just do something for me? Speaking of relatives of Joe Street and the Street Auto Group or whatever, part of our subject today takes us all the way back to when nitrogen first started getting put in cars.
Right.
It has to be a relative. Tell us about that.
A lot of people don't know that Joe Street's great grandfather was the first man to put nitrogen in the wheels of a carriage. Now, his name is Joe Cobblestone.
Cobblestones.
Can you see?
Cobblestones. Yeah, they were from Oklahoma.
Right, they're from Oklahoma.
The Cobblestone were back east in Virginia, I think, or something like that. But the Cobblestones.
Cobblestones.
Yes.
It was
big stones.
It was later anglicized to street.
It's exactly. It was easier.
Right, it was much easier to spell and much smoother as well. Yes. They did have a problem keeping the nitrogen in the wagon wheel.
The wood didn't hold well.
No, it really didn't. So he was ahead of his time.
Which really brings you to a thing to think about. And part of the reason that nitrogen does so well in the tires is that it's a little thicker, a little heavier than just oxygen. And the porousness of a rubber tire, the nitrogen seems to stay better.
Right, because the oxygen will just seep right through. And as it does, it will also oxidize the metal belts in your tires.
Yeah, or rot. And so it's just a great program. You can read lots of different things of why to or why not to. With the huge differences that we have in temperatures in Amarillo, Texas, we recordly can hit a 50-degree spread.
Sure.
You know, we can have a 28 or 29 night with a 70-degree day.
Well, we've seen that just in the last few weeks, a 45, 50-degree spread
Absolutely.
between the overnight low and the daytime high.
What happens is if you're sitting on just normal oxygen or just air that's been pumped into the tire, the shrinkage is going to really be big. You're going to get up in the morning and what's on?
Your tire pressure warning light, which looks like a little cauldron. It's supposed to look like a tire that's pooched out on the sides with an exclamation point in the middle. It looks like a little cauldron with some stuff bubbling in it, you know.
And it's always disheartening. You know, you start your day, oh no, it's on, and then you start to drive. The tire starts to get warm. The water molecules that are in the oxygen, they heat up, they grow. Hey, well, it went off, so it must be okay. Now, what happens? Here it comes back the next day. It becomes very frustrating. So at the Street Auto Group, as we sell our automobiles, we go ahead and change it out. We change it out to nitrogen. And we also sell it. It's $29.95. It's $39.95.
$39. It just went up $10 in the last 3 seconds. Yeah.
Just mention Dave or John and mention this show, and they'll give it to you for $29.95.
Well, now that you've said it, we got to stand behind it,
Yep,
right?
$29.95. We'll get you taken care of.
There you go.
So also remember, if you did purchase a vehicle from us and you've had a flat and you weren't able to come back in the store and let us repair it, then please come back by, because they most likely didn't. There are a few of the bigger box retailers that do nitrogen, but most don't. Just ask. If not, come by and we'll take care of it. We'll vacuum it out, put it back in. So, Dave, you were explaining to me a little while ago, it's kind of a very interesting process to get it up in that 98% level.
It is, and the machine that we use actually goes to at least 98% nitrogen, and to do that, the machine is totally self-regulating, so we just hook it up to your valve stem, and it will suck all the air out of the tire.
We actually do all 5 tires.
All
right?
5 tires.
Hoses. We even do the spare. It does it all at once.
Right, for as long as you have those tires, you're covered. So again, like John said, if you come back and you had a flat and you had to just air it up with air while you were out of town or something like that, you just bring it back to us, we'll set it up. But the machine will actually cycle 3 or 4 times. So it sucks all the air out, pumps it back up, sucks it up, pumps it up, and each time it's removing more and more oxygen and replacing it with nitrogen, so that you end up at least 98%.
Yeah, the air that we breathe is about 78% to 79% oxygen, nitrogen as it
already,
is,
yeah.
and 21% oxygen. And it's that oxygen that holds those water molecules, and that's what we want to try to eliminate out of there. And we don't want that light to come on for you. Nobody wants to see that. We want it to do what it's supposed to. You've hit a nail. You're losing air. The light came on. It took care of it. One of the worst things you can do is once that tire's flat, if you keep driving on it, you'll actually chew up the sidewalls in most cases, and then we don't have a choice but to sell you a tire, which is not what we want to do.
Right. And the problem... I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
John. The problem is that most people get so accustomed to seeing that light come on just with temperature changes that they ignore it when something actually does happen. And like you said, they're riding around with not enough air pressure, messing up their sidewalls, and then you end up actually blowing out the sidewall while you're going down the road, and then your tire just flies off all over the road, and it's not cool.
Yeah, summertime's real important because heat is a big thing. The tire does not need to get that hot. It's rubber. It's just going to expand. It's kind of like what you've got here.
Right.
And at some point, if we put enough pressure on that, we put enough heat, it will explode.
Where's the heating plate we were going to put this on?
It's a good thing.
We could demonstrate.
One of the other elements we want to talk about is that some people even try to even put helium, in their deals.
And they thought that would improve gas mileage by making the car lighter. Let's see if I can get this balloon. I didn't want it to float away, so I had it stashed under the table.
We had me worried there for a minute. I just wasn't sure exactly what we were doing. So.
But we found that it caused other problems because, people want their exhaust note to sound, thick and beefy and all that. What the heck just happened? Give me that other balloon.
That's exactly what happens if you put too much heat, and you don't keep your nitrogen in
So
a
you
good place.
you have your exhaust down all blub 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 blub, and then you get some helium going on.
Harlowish.
It's blub, 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 blub. And everybody's car just sounded really wussy going down the road. And nobody liked that, so they quit putting helium in tires a long time ago, and they stopped using it for their YouTube videos too, because how ridiculous do I sound right now?
Actually, you sound pretty good. So.
Really? Yeah. You like that? Okay.
Next week we'll be doing Disney characters.
Yeah, we'll try. Next time it already wore off. Next time we'll suck some helium and we'll have a sing along. It'll be fun.
That would be a lot of fun.
We'll sing Sweet Caroline or something like that.
One of the other advantages of nitrogen, the reason we're talking about the show today, is that good, constant, even tire pressure does a couple of things. One, it makes the tires all wear evenly. You also want to come in every 5,000 miles and have your tires rotated. So, and at that time, we'll check and make sure your pressures are good and try and help you along with that.
And all the Toyota vehicles, we're doing a 10,000-mile oil change with a couple of exceptions like the Tundra. Yeah, so most of the time you're doing a 10,000-mile oil change, but it's still so important to come in at 5,000 to rotate those tires, because if you're in a front-wheel drive vehicle and you don't rotate your tires, we see it on trade-ins all the time. You got bald tires in the front, brand new tires in the back. Vice versa, obviously, if you have a rear-wheel drive vehicle. But you just want to do that. We check your pressures. Also, if that light does come on, you can always just swing by and we'll check your pressures, make sure they're all up to spec, and get you in and out.
Right. Both service drives at the Street Auto Group, we're prepared for it. We have it right at the main drive. Just whip in real quick. Tell us, hey, you know what? I just had a light come on real quick. Just need a little air. We just need to get it taken care of. And we'll get you knocked out with that great service that we offer year-round in all types of service issues. But we want to see
you were telling
me
something really interesting earlier. Where did nitrogen tire fill really get started with cars?
You know, its roots go back with cars back into racing. And really, everybody was kind of doing it, but the drag racers were really big about it because they finally figured out that launching the car or that takeoff off the starting line, you wanted that tire just about exactly right. So they would put a certain amount of air in it. Then they would go do those big, pretty burnouts with all the smoke and all that. And that was to actually raise the temperature of the tire. And then so that when it launched, it would stay steady. But they were trying to guess all the time. They were, okay, if we go out at 3 and we heat it up real good, and today's temperature being 96, the track temperature is 107, and you tried to do all this crazy stuff that looked a lot like your deal you threw a little while ago.
Right.
Yeah, and they were guessing. They learned that by really running very, very pure nitrogen, they could set it at 3 and know that when they really hyped it up, it might climb another degree. So between 3 and 4, that was perfect, and they got that nice even launch.
Yeah.
And the car, one tire, they wouldn't react evenly. One might have a lot more and the other doesn't. One tire is bigger than the other. Well, now like a wheelchair, something's going right or left, and now the car's out of control.
Well, that's not good when you're going 170 miles an hour.
Just zooming along, absolutely. So great stuff. So if you have any questions and you want to know any more about nitrogen, you can call Dave or I, either one. The number will be on the bottom there. Call the stores. We'll be happy to talk to you about it. And we hope you've learned something today about nitrogen and the reasons for it and why we like it, because we don't want your tire light coming on. Yeah. When it comes on, we want it to come on because there's really a reason. Was that our top 10 for the day?
I was just making sure we had covered all of our notes and letting them go.
Sticking with that racing theme.
Yes.
This is Speed Week.
Speed Week.
And we were talking about that Daytona 500, the 58th running of it this year. If you have never watched it, most people don't realize that more people watch the Daytona 500. It's called the Great American Race. In its early days, if you ever get a chance to see the footage, it's really spectacular because half of the track, was on the beach and half was on asphalt. And you'll see them running right along the waves. You'll even see in the early days, Fireball Roberts, Dale Earnhardt Sr.'s father. Try to think of some of the other guys' names. Eunuch. Try to think of his. Yeah, it really was his name or whatever. Sparky Eunuch was his name. But if you look up at those guys, if the car was starting to heat or they have a problem, you would actually see them go into the water. They would go into the ocean, throw water up in there, and then come back. But watching those cars come from the dirt onto the asphalt is something else. And then just about the time that all the dirt's come off the tire and it starts to handle better, zoom, you're back on the deal.
Wow.
But 58 years ago, the track was half asphalt, some cobblestone, as you mentioned earlier, back to Joe Street's grandfather, back to the cobblestones. See, we tie all this together. We really work hard at this.
It's all connected.
Yeah. But if you get the chance, you want to watch it, Jeff Gordon has retired this year, and young Chase Elliott is in it. And he's taken over that car and actually is the first rookie, 21 years old, to sit on the pole for the Great American. Wow. So there's lots of great stories to go with it this week. The duels are tomorrow night at, I think, 7 o'clock or something. They run 2 races. That makes the lineup. As you finish in the first race, you line up on the outside of the track. So it's 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. It comes back. And as they finish in the second race is 3. It comes down the other side, and they line up straight back. Super fair, super great way to do it rather than qualifying with 1 lap. This gives you 125 miles to do it. So, if you don't know much about it, there's a lot to watch, but it's next Sunday at 2 o'clock. Should be a fabulous race. Only 40 cars this year. They've made some great changes to make great racing. So.
But they're not driving on the beach anymore.
I wish they would. So it would put a whole new element back into the track.
Did Spanky Eunuch, was that? Did he ever end up with a dolphin in the car with him?
I'm sure I'm sure fish in the grill and different
crabs
things
or something like that.
Absolutely would be perfect.
Driving a Corvette, get a Stingray on your Stingray.
That's it. That's probably how I got its name, Stingray. So it's
down there at Daytona. Anything can happen at Speed Week, I'll tell you what.
Anything can happen at the Street Auto Group.
Yes. I was just sitting here listening that whole time because I don't know the first thing about racing. So I was just listening to old Motormouth over here.
That's it. We love our cars. And we love our customers.
Absolutely.
As we always say. We thank Amarillo and the Panhandle and everybody that deals with it. And what's really been great is due to our great internet crew right now, as some of the people listening now, we've gone worldwide.
Yeah.
So we are really starting to ship cars everywhere. We offer, the care catcher. Well, that too. The car catcher.
We do care.
Yeah, we do care. But you can go to any of our sites, jump onto Car Catcher, tell us what you're looking for. We'll find the car. We'll bring it into town. We'll do the freight. We'll get your financing. We'll take your trade. Mm-hmm. All those things that is so difficult to do. You want to buy on the internet, but it's, well, what do I do with my trade? And how do I get license plates? And who's going to finance it? I don't have a check. We do all that for you. So please don't forget that. Contact any of us at any of the Street Auto Group, Dave, myself. Just call Joe Street if you want to.
Yeah.
Joe will get you with the right people.
And while we're talking about Speed Week, why don't we talk about some of the fun to drive cars? Do we have a minute?
Yeah, let's take a minute and talk about that.
We've
Absolutely.
got some great cars. We've got the Golf R over at Street Volkswagen. That's all-wheel drive. Very near 300 horsepower. And horsepower and torque numbers are both up in the 280s, 290s. All-wheel drive. Excellent car. The GTI, of course. Very affordable. Starts around 27 grand and 258 pound-feet of torque, 210 horsepower. We have the Scion FRS over here at the Toyota store.
One of my favorites. There's a couple of videos of me doing some neat track time on that, doing some racing with the FRS.
Spectacular little rear-wheel drive front engine. Just the lowest center of gravity of any car you can buy.
Every magazine, when that thing first came out, every magazine gave it the same thing. Best bang for the buck by far. That car is 26, 7?
26, 27.
Yeah. Oh, my
depending
gosh.
on how you have it equipped. And a couple of the reviews that I've read have said that you can't find anything with handling anywhere close to it for less than 3 times the price.
Absolutely.
It is absolutely incredible. So
one of our employees, old Flo, stand over there behind the cameras. He drives one.
Flo often appears in our videos.
Yeah. Loves it to death. Just awesome cars.
Yeah, and in fact, Jay Leno drove it for his YouTube series, Jay Leno's Garage. He loved it, and he talked about how much fun it is to get into a car that's not a 500 or 600 horsepower car that a regular person can just kind of toss around on the streets.
And that leads to how roomy that car is. Because if that chin, if you've ever seen Jay's chin, that car's got some room. And boy, if that thing can get in there, you got lots of room to do whatever you need to do. So.
Oh, yeah. So we do have some really spectacular fun to drive cars.
Future episodes we can talk about as we get more about it. But I understand that Toyota is going to bring the Supra back.
Yes.
That is amazing. When I was a kid, you boys are a little too young to remember. But if you had a Supra, you were pretty high stepping, man.
Oh,
Especially that 92, 93, 94. That twin turbo was just an animal.
Well, this is the difference between my background and John's. When I was playing Gran Turismo on PlayStation back in '95, we loved getting a Supra and just souping it up. But they stopped bringing them to the States in the mid or later '90s, '97, I think it was, right around there.
We played Pong.
Yeah,
that had 2 dials, which for us was a big deal. You had to turn 2 dials at once.
Right.
Now you watch these kids today with all the thumbs that's going on. I don't know how you can do it. So,
but yeah, the Supra's coming back. If you look at the FT1 concept that Toyota showed last year, there are also some really interesting. There's a smaller sports car, a 2-seater, smaller than the FRS, that Toyota has shown at some shows that might be coming around, and it'll be very affordable and just fun to drive, like a little go-kart. And then there's the Kikai is a weird-looking little thing. Kikai. Google that.
Now we're
and that's
we're back to Scrabble.
Right.
That word probably carries 12 or 13 points.
Exactly. So lots of fun stuff coming around.
Talk about fun. Within the next 6 weeks or so, we should have the new Dune Beetle.
Oh, wow.
And we'll get, I think Flo has shown that in one of our other ones. That Dune is actually out of concept, finally. And what it is, it's taking you back into the 70s. Every kid that I went to high school with, if you had a Beetle, you duned it up.
Yeah.
You put the balloon tires on it, and you jacked it up a little bit, and you did the different things. This is coming back from the factory, sits 3 inches higher. It's got these bigger tires and the wheel lip moldings. Absolutely the coolest car.
Yeah,
and going to be in some great colors.
Yeah,
just fun colors. And we've got the denim, the actual denim Beetle coming. It should be about 2 months behind it. So got a couple of things coming this year, and we got a big SUV coming a little further out. And so both of our manufacturers right now have some great things coming our way. Yeah, and have great products now, but there's no doubt. So.
And that's the great thing. I've said this before about Street Auto Group. We have the number 1 and number 2 automakers in the world, and they've actually traded places a couple of times. But we really do have the 2 best auto manufacturers that you can find, and you only have to come to one place.
Yeah. So good reason that we talk so much about nitrogen and oil changes, everything else, because we do a lot of maintenance. We just don't do a lot of repair.
Exactly.
Yeah, if we had to live on repair, these are not the 2 manufacturers that you want to own for repair.
No,
we don't get to fix a whole lot of our warranty claims, kind of in the tank. So we just build great products, and we have great customers.
Yes,
and you talk about having fun, and we have great employees. So we had an orientation today
Yeah,
with
new
some of our
employee
newer
orientation.
employees, and just had the best time. And it's so much fun to mentor and hire and see these people and see their eyes all bright-eyed and everything. So we're going to cut it loose, and we're going to say goodbye. We thank you so much for being a part of Motormouth and following our podcast. As we say, Flo will run a number across the bottom here. Please call us. You have a question, or if you'd like to be a guest on our show.
Yeah,
that could
we
be
would
really fun.
love to have
If you've
you.
got a fun, you were talking about vulcanized on tires, and
Yeah.
these two over here got all excited, and I can't do that. They were trying to hold their fingers. There we go, trying to get their fingers all vulcaned. So here we go. So we love you guys. We love Amarillo. Thank you so much for being our customers and our friends. Come see us.